So we're introduced to the dog, and you're like, oh, why are they chasing the dog?
You just think, are we going to see it?
Yeah, and they show it, don't they?
Well, the organs are intact. And it's just like,
Were they?
Hey, welcome to Screen Time, the channel where we revisit movies and games from our past, or watch things afresh.
Yes, absolutely.
And this one is a rewatch.
Yes.
And for me, it was
The first
a
watch.
fresh.
Oh,
So this week we've actually watched two movies.
we have.
We've watched The Thing and we watched The Thing.
The Thing. We've watched the 1982 Thing and we've watched the 2011 Thing. So, Lou, when was the first time you saw The Thing? We'll do The Thing first and then we'll talk about
The Thing 1982, The Thing?
The 1982 one.
The original.
The original.
Before the prequel. I think I probably saw it on television. One of those late, movie watches in the evening.
Yeah.
When like in my room.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
When I'm not meant to be up watching telly, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I remember liking the movie and watching it again now.
Yeah.
I really forgot how gory it was.
Yeah.
I was actually eating my dinner when I was watching this.
Yeah. It's strange actually because The Thing 1982 came out the week after E.T. was released. So the problem with it is it was an absolute bomb when it first came out. No one saw it. No one watched it. So I think The Thing actually acquired viewers and the cult sort of like mania that it's got now from VHS. So when it came out on VHS, that's the first time I saw it, was on VHS.
Yeah.
And it was the sort of thing you could play and rewatch and play and rewatch and play. And I think that's where
you got hooked.
Yeah, absolutely. So should we talk about the general sort of premise of the film?
Absolutely. You go with the premise.
Okay, I'll go with the premise. So if anyone hasn't seen The Thing, it's about a very brief synopsis. It's an American and Antarctic base, a team there. They're subjected to something rather nasty. And as the storm approaches, they have to figure out who is human and who isn't. And this all leads to a lot of fear and paranoia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
That's pretty concise.
Yeah, it is. It hits the nail on the head, I think. One thing that this movie is really good at is it makes you feel that they are on their own and they're isolated.
Yeah.
It starts with a helicopter, chasing, flying after a dog.
Yeah.
And it's just all these wide shots. You just see mountains and this dog is just going through the snow, and straight away you think, well, they're in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Absolute isolation.
And I mean, the whole movie, the whole time really gives you that sense of isolation.
Yeah. There's limited music as well. There's key moments in music. Yeah. Supposedly Ennio Morricone did the music, but he recorded like 90 minutes of music and they ended up only using like 3 minutes of it, which was the titles at the beginning as the helicopters, introduced to the dog, and the end. I love the way it starts off. I'm not sure if I actually like the very, very beginning where you're introduced to clouds, a bunch of stars everywhere.
Right, yes.
And then you see a saucer, a spaceship coming at camera and then going down to the planet, and that's when the titles come up for The Thing, which is really brilliantly done.
Yeah.
The way they did that, they actually made a stencil with The Thing written on it, and it was an homage to the 50s one, and they basically put a black plastic bag behind it, put a really strong light source behind it, put a few cloud tanks in there, and then they burnt the plastic, and so it just reveals The Thing it's really clever.
I mean, it's such a different, when I was watching it, I was thinking it's such a different sort of title to what you normally see, and it's very like in your face.
It's really there, yeah.
And I don't know if it actually necessarily goes with what the movie's about, because it feels like electrical to me, whereas then you're in ice.
Yeah, I think as I said, I think it's
just a
homage to the 50s version. But I'm in debate as to whether they needed that bit, because I think it's like, then you're kind of expecting that kind of thing to happen. So we're introduced to the dog and you're like, oh, why are they chasing the dog? And they really flip your
they do
expectations very much.
Which is very much what the movie's like, because you kind of get attached to people. I you know, as the movie goes, but then obviously you're always questioning, you know, whether or not.
Yeah.
And the first example is the dog. You
Yeah.
know, 1 minute you're thinking, what a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
What on earth are they doing trying to shoot that dog? And then suddenly you're looking at that dog going, don't go near anyone. And it's snooping around. And
the way the dog behaves is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think it should have got an Oscar, the dog.
Yes.
Because the
way it just sits under the table watching.
It's really intense, this dog. And I mean, I don't think it was trained. I think they literally just let the dog do what this dog does, this breed of dog does. So we're introduced to this dog, and then what happens is that they try and fathom out what's happened. You know, these people that were shooting the dog, they're like, they've obviously gone stir crazy. So they send up a team. Yeah,
the doctor.
The doctor and Kurt Russell, who's the pilot.
Yeah.
And they go McCready. That's it. I've got the names here.
Oh, well done.
Because I get muddled up between the characters. But they visit the Norwegian base, and as they arrive, they realise it's absolutely obliterated. It's just on fire, smoking. They see this burning mass in the middle of that. What is that in there? They had a look around the base, and there's, you know, people with their throats cut, and there's some really visceral.
That person who's got their back to the camera, and initially they just sort of look like that, and you just think, are we going to see it?
And they show it, don't they? It's really, and it's all the blood is frozen as well. And then that's when they come across this big ice block with like a hollowed out section in it, and what is this? What is this?
Maybe they found a fossil. The remains of some animal buried in the ice, and they chopped it up. But where is it?
Silly, but they then take this burnt thing that's in this pit in the ice outside that they burnt up.
Take it home.
They take it home because they want to do an autopsy on it. They go back with it, and the doctor, what's his name? Blair.
He's
a doctor as well.
He's a doctor. He's the one who actually does the initial test and realises that there's a problem here. Yeah. And he was the one who was trying to lock things down initially.
Yes.
There was one comment, this is when I was eating my dinner, it was one comment when he's digging around and it's all gooey and horrible, and he goes, well, the organs are intact. And he was like,
were they?
Well, what we got here is what appears to be, anyway, a normal set of internal organs. Heart, lungs.
I couldn't make out any.
I completely forgot. I know, it didn't look like organs to me.
Yeah. They must have used so much KY jelly. That, I mean, I read up on it, and they used just so much like household stuff.
Yeah, but it felt, I mean, that didn't necessarily feel real. I mean, but you felt everything about it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you know it's not real.
Yeah.
It doesn't look real.
No,
but
some of it was like,
because it's a physical thing in the scene that they're touching, and it feels kind of it's just really, really visceral.
You know what it's going to feel like when you see something that looks like that. You know exactly what it's going to feel like in the texture, and that's what you buy into.
Yeah, exactly.
What's also very good about it is that, you know, at the beginning you're learning as they do.
Yeah.
When this thing attacked our dogs, it tried to digest them, absorb them, and in the process shape its own cells to imitate them.
You're lost just as much as they are. You kind of have a bit of an idea,
yeah.
But then once the film progresses, you have no idea.
You had no expectation.
I don't think even the individual necessarily does, because they seem quite surprised when they do the blood tests.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
we can talk about that.
We can talk about that later.
How long were you alone with that dog?
I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe. What the hell are you looking at me like that for?
I think they very much kept the actors in the dark in regards to how they were going to shoot the stuff, how they were going to, because obviously there's a lot of model work, there's a lot of like mechanical stuff that goes on. The genuine expression on some of the people's faces, that first transformation of the dog is just wow. The whole face basically peels back. And then, I mean, the cuts between the different models is amazing.
It's quite dark in there, so you don't get a big full-on reveal. You know, it's quite sort of dark, so you don't see everything. So again, even though it may not all look real, you buy into it because it's not too. I mean, it is completely over the top. And everything that could haunt you is in that. I mean, it squirts goo. You know, you think, if I don't get near it, it won't hurt me. And the next minute it squirts the dog.
It's got spindly legs.
It's got spidery aspects.
It's got these things that come out and like swarm over the other dogs.
I mean, it plays with so many fears in every single person that it's bound to touch many people. It's just the way the scene's built. You know, it's not, and there's so many jumps. You know, that, as you say, that initial scene when the dog goes in, you know that there's something wrong about that dog. And animal senses straight away, all of the other dogs know. And they're all just sort of looking in. And it happens so quickly. And you know something's going to happen, but what's so lovely about
it's the sound design as well. The dog's like, oh.
But you know something's going to happen, but you don't know what is going to happen. And they do that throughout the movie. It's not the same thing all the time, and it really keeps you on your feet.
Absolutely. That's the first major reveal that you get of the creature. And half of it remains in the dog pen, and then the other half kind of climbs out. So it's like, where that goes, I don't know. But anyway... So
we'll deal with that later.
We'll deal with that thing later with the arms. We'll incinerate this thing, but not very long. We'll incinerate it for about until it's sort of like
until it's half
semi well done.
Exactly.
And
medium to rare.
Then they immediately put it out with a fire extinguisher, and they then do another autopsy on it.
As you do,
and that's when the big reveal comes that this thing is not human. It's imitating, it's absorbing other life forms, and it can replicate them. And that's when the first seeds you can see in, what's his name? Blair.
Yeah. Who wanted to bring it back in the first place.
Yeah. You can see in him this grain of like, if it can replicate dogs, it can replicate other things as well.
We got to it before it had time to finish.
Finish what?
Finish imitating these dogs.
And that's when he first questions Clark, who's the guy who owns the dogs. He says, "You telling me this thing's been walking around in here?" And you see the way he looks at Clark, and it's just like, he thinks Clark is now one of these things. So immediately from that point, the paranoia starts to creep in. And I think that Blair can't handle it because he does a simulation on the computer, and he realizes that is it something like 128 days or something, months, 128
if it got
months.
Out in the population, it would just spread.
It would just spread. So immediately you're given this as this thing can't leave here. It can't get away. That is a great premise to sort of put this all on, you know?
Straight away then, you start suspecting everybody. You start questioning they start questioning everybody's actions. So somebody who could just be moody could be seen as being having it.
Removing those things out of the lab into the storeroom. Can you come get your stuff?
You know, they always seem to be in their rooms with their doors wide open. So they're sort of sitting there and you're looking out into the corridor, and a lot of the time people don't walk past, but I always had an eye, not necessarily on what the person was doing, but what was happening behind them. And then again, you'd be looking at somebody in their room, and then there'd be that sort of thing going past.
There'd be a forward pass.
And then they would go, who was that?
With the sting sound.
What's also great about the setting of this is obviously it's isolation, but you know that people have to be specific people to live and work in these remote locations, right? So they go through so many studies of their personalities, and so it's already a very stressful environment. You know, they're alone for a very long time, and then you put something like that into the mix. You know, I mean, it's just a whole different level.
Yeah,
and even if you're okay to live in that environment, I mean, it pushes it even further. And I think that's why it's such a good location to have this as a film.
I mean, it's a really elaborate whodunit.
Somebody blew out a fuse in the lab. Lights were out in there for an hour. Any one of us could have gotten to him.
Yeah.
Really. Because you're constantly thinking, oh no, I think it might be him, or maybe it's them, or maybe it's this guy.
He's one of them. When do you think it got to him? I don't know.
Could have been any time.
And so it's always making you guess, and ultimately the person that it ends up being is the guy that you kind of forget after a while because he's put away in isolation. And you think it's all to do with the people that are in the thing. And there are some jumps. I mean, there's some really clever jumps.
Yeah.
I mean, you alluded to the blood test, which I think is one of the best jump scares in the film.
Yeah.
We'll do you last.
Get away from me! Retreating!
Absolutely.
And what I love about it is the way they shoot it is that the test before the jump.
Yes.
The same camera setup is there. So it's a low angle looking up at Kurt Russell, and the fake hand is already in the shot, and he tests the blood there like that. And so, okay. So when you come back to that exact same scene, it's not the same. It's the same camera angle. Everything is the same, so you're expecting the same result, and it's not. And they didn't tell the cast. They didn't even tell what's his name?
Kurt
Russell, that it was going to happen. And they had like a jet of air that pushes this thing up when he does it. So the reaction is real.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I mean, it really jolts.
It really jolts you because you're there's no way you're
really
expecting
jolts,
it.
yeah.
It's really clever.
I mean, the way that they're all connected.
Yeah,
you know, it's just.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you'd be
There's-
screaming.
you're trapped on that
wouldn't you?
chair.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness me!
The thing is, I think what I like about it is that it's obvious when the transition happened between the live actor and then suddenly you get the prosthetic or the animatronic,
Yeah.
you know. But you don't care.
No.
It's so gooey. It's so like, you know,
It's gooey, as you said before. It's gooey,
Yeah.
but it's really dark. It doesn't try and oversell itself too much as being real.
Yeah,
you know, the whole atmosphere, the whole overacting in a way. Makes it all necessarily believable.
Yeah.
You know,
And I think also because the way it's cut, they cut so quickly between the different models that you don't have a chance to even work out how did they do that before you go on to the next thing. And naturally you just move from one thing to the next, and you're not questioning it. You're just like, oh my God, it's doing that, and it's doing that, and it's doing that. The reason I think that it was so successful on the VHS or whatever, or when I was introduced to the film, was that you could go through it and go, oh my goodness, wow, how did you know?
Yeah.
So you could literally dissect it while they were dissecting.
Nice.
So there's some great stuff in that. As far as the characters are concerned, how did you feel about? I mean, they were all very individual, but for me, I think it's kind of chaotic a little bit. And I lose track of who's named who and who is who.
Kurt Russell, I think, is great in this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like watching him in this.
Yeah.
I know I'm human. And if you were all these things, then you'd just attack me right now.
Every time I watch the movie, I'm always questioning him.
But I think that's also like
But that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
it's about, you know?
There's some deliberate...
Yeah. And I also find myself trying to work out when it could have happened.
Yeah.
You know, when they were got.
Yes.
But I mean, there's no way of...
There's no way
knowing.
of knowing that.
I love the fact that, you know, you got Blair that's like in that shed.
Yeah.
And there's a noose. Did
Yes.
you ever notice the
Yeah,
noose?
no, I'd noticed the noose before. So it was like, I think his character just wasn't taking the information very well at all. You know, he had that meltdown where he's smashing all the computers. He destroyed the helicopter. He knew
the communication, everything.
He knew that they shouldn't leave there.
Yeah.
You know, he did the right thing, really. He knew that this thing should not leave this.
Yeah.
But obviously, they all wanted out. I mean, I would.
It's human nature to, to try and find a way out, isn't it? So you've got that force, and then you've got the force of something that might have, you know, gone into you that's forcing you to try and find a way out as well.
Yeah. There was one actor that I really liked, and it was the guy who played Windows, the guy with the curly hair who was the operator on the radio.
Oh, yes.
And I really liked him as a character because there's one scene when they're doing the blood test scene and they test his blood, it makes you question, do they know if they've been taken over or
That's
not?
what I was asking
because he literally just goes like that when it comes back negative, and you're like, yeah, would you know?
But that's the thing. I mean, that's the one thing that I was wondering, because you find, as I said, you find yourself questioning like who, but at the same time, do they know themselves if they've actually got it? You know. The
other really great scene, I think, is the chest sequence where it just escalates on and on. And they actually use someone who had lost their arms for the doctor. So as he's doing the chest compression and the chest opens up and his arms go in, and then these teeth take off his arms. But as he recoils back, it's actually a different actor. It's not him, but they made him up to look as much like him. And so obviously they just put hangy bits on the end of his arms like this. So as you recoil back, it just looked like they'd been seven up. Yeah, it's really clever, really clever.
I mean, that shocked me so much when that happened.
Absolutely.
And again, it's really quick takes.
But also,
really quick cuts,
they'd already introduced, because they'd already done one thing on him, poof, like that. So you're like, okay, so they're just doing that on him. And so when they come back for the second one, poof, and then it happens, it's just like, whoa, it really knocks you. So when did you last watch this before we just watched it?
A long time ago. I can't pinpoint
really?
yet. I can't pinpoint when. It was a very long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't remember much of it. So it was like it was a bit of a new watch, really.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which is lovely.
Oh, God. Yeah, it is.
I mean, obviously, I know what happens.
Yeah.
And
we do have really good memories for films.
but I mean, just the ins and outs and all of the different moments. I mean, I remembered the initial moment with the dog, but all the little moments that happened throughout, I'd forgotten. Yeah. And the holes in the clothing, and things like that, where you then again, it's like an investigation, because it's has somebody planted this to make it seem like somebody has been taken over, or have they actually been copied? Yeah,
because they find Macready's underwear, don't they? And so automatically they're like suspicious of him, and it's like even for us as the viewer, we're not sure whether he is, there's never really a reveal.
No, and I think that I love that aspect of it. It's like there's always this unknown. Yeah. And it's up to you really to sort of make up your mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, sometimes it can be really frustrating, but actually I think it's perfect. Yeah.
I love the idea of the creature, really, insofar as that every cell is its own individual life form. And when one of those transformations happens, when the way it protects itself is when it's under assault, the main body on the operating table, and part of it wants to escape, so that the head falls off the edge of the table and basically stretches down. They did that in reverse. I actually pulled it up, but anyway, and it works its way down the table, and then when it's on the floor, this tendril comes out, latches to a table and drags itself away out of view. And then to mobilize itself, it then turns it into an upside down head crab.
Yeah, I know. But I mean,
it's just the imagination.
I was like, of course it would be. Of course it would be a spider. If it wasn't sick enough. But then having that, I was like, that just haunts me. What I thought was brilliant about that is because it's so extreme that initially I was sort of laughing. Yeah. I was laughing. But it doesn't take itself seriously because the actors, the characters go...
They ham it up a little.
They're like, you've got to be... Yeah, you got to be kidding. And it's exactly what I was saying. Because I just thought, oh my word. Yeah. But That's the best bit. It's a riot. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it all comes to a head when it ends up with only, I think, 3 of them. There's McCready, you've got, I think it's Norris. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There's 3 of them.
Yes.
And they go down to, because they're burning up the place.
Yeah.
And you kind of know that it's Blair, part of it.
Well,
one part of it might be Blair.
Well, yeah, I mean, you go through the shed and then there's a spaceship.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been busy.
He's been busy. He's trying to get away or trying to get somewhere populated or whatever the plan is.
Blair's been busy out here all by himself.
And then they come across him in the power room when they've got the generator. The generator has gone, so you know that he's trying to use the generator to power this thing. I think one of the grossest merging things in it actually happens in that sequence. It's when you've got Blair suddenly jumps into shot and puts his face over the other guy. And it goes under his skin. It's such a clever...
It's in through the mouth. And you can see the hand like underneath the skin around the mouth.
Yeah, and then they do a quick cut of him walking away, but trailing the body.
Yeah.
So the whole head is morphed into the hand. And it's just those little quick cuts. And you know on a physical level, that's like, oh, you can just imagine how that works.
I mean, it's the kind of thing, you know that it's coming. But I didn't expect that, though.
No.
And that's what's great.
No,
again, it's a completely different way of affecting one of the characters.
So we've kind of got to the end of the film.
Yeah.
We won't talk about our scores or anything like that. I think what we'll do is move on to The Thing from 2011.
Yeah.
I quite like this. It's obviously not as good, I don't think, as the original, well, the 1982 version, but I think its heart was in the right place. Mm-hmm. It's trying to do something that is very much respectful of and you can tell it is because it's a prequel, and it's focusing on what happened at the Norwegian base before the US base gets involved. There were some really interesting things in this. I think the main issue I have with this, I think, is they tried to do it all practically initially. They tried to do the same kind of thing with practical effects and stuff like that. And I think there was a lot of pushback in Hollywood at the time to say, no, we need to make this look more dramatic, more real. Mm-hmm. So then they started putting CG over the top of it. I think the problem with it, it's still a good film, I really enjoyed watching it, is that it kind of ramps up too quickly for me. The first reveal that you get is like the creature is almost on the attack. It's not the other way around. It's not where they're trying to hunt down the creature and the creature is, when cornered, it does something.
It bursts out.
Yeah. It bursts out the ice at the beginning, and then when they're looking for it, it's underneath this shack.
Yeah.
And it launches this projectile out and So it was all amped up, probably too much for me. And I think the thing is, maybe they just decided that, well, everyone's seen the thing, they know how this thing is and how it behaves, so we're basically retelling the story.
Retelling the story and making an action movie.
Yeah.
Even though there were horrific moments, it felt like an action movie.
Agreed. I mean, there was some nice characters in there. I love the fact that they used very much a Norwegian cast.
Yes.
I thought that was great. So it was very,
a lot of
authentic, with a lot of fillings. Yes, because they obviously had to come up with a different test to determine who was and who wasn't a thing. So they couldn't test the blood for some reason. I can't remember why they couldn't use blood.
Because they burnt down the... the laboratory.
Yeah, that's right. The laboratory was all burnt down. So they come up with this idea of basically checking their mouths, because she was witness to the fact that someone had lost their fillings, their metal fillings.
Their fillings, and also somebody had...
a hip
some sort of
a
replacement.
leg replacement
yeah,
or something.
and there was a metal piece.
And they find it
and they found it outside of the body.
What is this? Looks like a titanium plate.
It can't replicate metal.
Yeah, no.
Only organics.
Yeah.
So that was quite a cool idea,
Yeah.
I thought. And I think that it worked in some ways, and I think it was a good way to then, it's something for the viewer to look out for and get clues and who's wearing this or who's got this. And so I thought that was quite good. Okay, so to start with, I think it's clever because it's almost like they have to look at a crime scene from the original movie and figure out, how did it get to that? How did that axe end up in the wall? How did this guy end up slit throat? How did the Two Faces creature end up in the snow? So it was like they were piecing together a crime scene and how these things happen, which I thought was interesting and fascinating. So it's like, oh, that's how they think that happened.
Yeah.
So that was clever. The way that it was done, particularly the facial stuff. Some of the facial stuff didn't work for me because it's now quite dated.
What was interesting, I guess, about it in terms of the difference between that and the thing was I just didn't really get close to the characters.
Yeah, there's that. There were more of them.
To be honest, I wasn't necessarily thinking about the CG. It did cross my mind, and I did find, yes, you saw a lot very, very quickly. But again, they used similar techniques in terms of it was very dark. So, you saw bits of it, but you didn't see the whole thing.
Yeah.
So even though they were using CG, it was covered up quite a lot. So it didn't pull me out. It didn't disrupt me too much.
Okay.
But I don't know why, and I can't pinpoint what it was. And I was trying to think what it was, but I just didn't really link with the characters that much. You've got a female sort of lead in there, but I don't know if it was the fact that they didn't seem likable or something, but I just didn't really care necessarily about them.
After a short but thorough investigation, I can say unequivocally that I have never seen anything like what we have.
The way the other one was shot, it all felt a lot more enclosed. Yeah, the actual spaces seemed smaller. And even though this one was very similar, it just felt brighter. There was something about it that was brighter.
I think they were,
Yeah, and not so necessarily distressed. And so even though it was set as a prequel, it felt still more modern than the other one.
Yeah, agreed.
And so there was things that were, I don't think it was necessarily pulling me out of the movie or even just disrupting me, but I didn't feel the same as the first one.
Yeah.
And it was the feel of it.
Yeah.
And there were some elements of it that were very similar. You still had the dog element. You still had it going up through the ceiling, which had been done before. And I don't know if that's kind of like a bow to the original movie so that people get the same thing that happened and a nod to it.
Yeah.
I liked the fillings idea. There was a few techniques that were quite good. She discovered the fillings and there's a helicopter that's about to leave and take one of the injured people from the initial attack away to a hospital. And she's looking at these fillings and you can hear the helicopter starting up in the distance and it's gradually getting louder and louder. And for me, I was watching and I was thinking, I don't know what that is. And then I was thinking, hold on a minute, there's something going on here because I'm hearing the helicopter and I'm making that link and I'm thinking, she's going to run out to that helicopter in a minute because this isn't good. And then she discovers in one of the shower cubicles a load of blood. Yeah. And so she's running out. Yeah. And then in the helicopter, one of them is...
But it's a clever switcheroo.
And
because you think it's the other guy because he's having real problems.
Absolutely.
Don't worry. Hang in there.
And so there are definite jumps and things in it. But yeah, I just had a different feel for it. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you. I didn't dislike the movie at all. I actually quite enjoyed watching it. Yeah. I would definitely go to the first one more often then I would probably see that one.
There's a few little bits in the newer one, the 2011 one, that I did like. There was one scene where Kate first arrives at the base and she's sharing a room with Juliet, and she's looking out the window and she's sort of just looking up at all these beautiful stars and she's going, I'm never going to look at these the same way again.
The first night is hard. Sorry, I don't mean to keep you up.
They have a really nice little moment, and I like that. I like some of the relationships that she had with some of the Norwegian guys. There was a nice little rapport. But for me, it was like the way some of the characters end up dying just felt a little bit almost disrespectful. It was just like, oh, that's so quick that they just... particularly Juliet. It's like, well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
How did she get infected? And I know in the original you don't see how they get infected, but it's not subtle. It's literally like, whoa, and she turns into this thing, and you're like,
extreme. But it is a shame. And also, I just felt like the escaping from them felt so easy. Like, you can just push them aside and you can run, and I just didn't believe that at all. If anything, it did take away the scary aspect of it, because I just thought, well, it's not always going to get them then, whereas the whole point about this thing is that if it's right there in front of you with all of these ways that it can kill,
can morph.
I mean,
the two-headed creature was disgusting.
To be honest, that CG, it's dated, but it's so like the original one.
Yeah.
It's so awful that you buy into it.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my goodness me.
And I think that's what I mean by when I initially I said I think it comes from a place of love, because they love the original. You could tell the filmmakers loved it, and so they were being so respectful of that. It's just that it's almost like plot armor. Yeah. Some of the characters had plot armor where this thing is coming at them, and he literally just does this whoop, and sort of like lifts himself out of the way as this thing just collides through. Like, no.
Very parkour.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it was just like,
he was very
come on.
nimble.
There was none.
Yeah, very nimble.
But don't get me wrong. It's
I know we're just
we're literally it's a really fun film. There are some great little nods, I must admit. The very first time they come across the alien spaceship in this prequel, in the ice, there's an alien head in the ice. As they walk in, they've got the ice sculpted to look like an alien head, which I thought was quite fun.
I didn't know.
as I was looking at it, I was like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's clever. I was like, oh, that's really clever. And I did like the fact that they focused a little bit more on the technology of the alien ship and stuff.
Actually going inside
it, which kind of destroyed it a little bit, but I was intrigued to see because it never happened in the first movie. Because watching the first movie, if I'd been one of them, I was like, I'd have wanted to go in and have a little look inside.
A little snoop.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it never happened.
And I have to say, that whole kind of with all of the tendrils kind of going that was quite disturbing and put me quite on edge.
Yeah.
The character of Carter in that second movie, or the latest movie, in some ways plays the MacReady character.
Hey. She you asked.
Yeah.
But I mean, I thought he was going to be the MacReady character in this movie, but in the end, it's kind of her.
Yeah,
that is.
Yeah.
But because he's a helicopter pilot.
Yeah. He's the one that they've kind of got a connection a little bit between Kate and him.
Yeah.
It's not.
No, I thought it was going to probably be more than what it was.
Yeah, and I'm kind of pleased it didn't.
No, I'm the same, because it's not about that in that kind of environment. The last thing
you're
thinking about, you're thinking, is that you?
Yes. I think it was more a relationship of like trust. They kind of trusted each other.
And friends, which also explores that other element, because in that environment, especially the fact that he was away from camp for a bit. There was definite that divide between the main group and him and the other person who was with him. And when they come back to camp, suddenly you're distrusted.
Everybody in the rec room.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult because if that's a friend of yours, it plays with that, you know, I you know, my friend, but can I trust you?
Yeah.
And she was always, you could tell she was always checking, and suddenly I became aware of what we were checking for.
Yes.
You know, initially I wasn't aware. It wasn't completely like, oh look, you know, you've got this.
Yeah. It's not like he had piercings all over his face or anything like that.
No, it was very subtle, but it was really well done.
Yeah, it was well done. Right at the end, they've got away from the bad guy, who kind of was obviously the bad guy all along in some ways. There was no real surprise with that.
No, it was just a character who was always a bit dodgy.
Yeah. And then it's kind of horrific because she's trusted him all this time, and then you almost don't want to believe it.
No.
Because he turns around and he doesn't have an earring anymore.
You know how I knew you were human? When you showed it back at base?
No.
Your earring.
And you just think, oh no. And she just tortures him in the car.
She didn't think twice about setting him alight.
No.
And I was a little bit disturbed because there were a few kind of screams in the fire, but nothing like previous.
No.
And in some ways she sort of stood there, and I was thinking if she was kind of thinking, oh, have I done the right thing here? Have I just smoked somebody?
Have I destroyed a potential boyfriend?
Yeah, exactly. And then she's like, right then. I mean, at least, you know, there's another car there. So
she wasn't trapped.
Yeah.
And then she just sort of sat there, didn't she?
She just sat there. But, and then it quickly, this is the one aspect of it that felt a little bit, right, we've got to get that in and make that link. Because it cuts straight away to this other guy who we thought had been killed off.
Yeah.
He suddenly appears from the cabin with his gun, and then his dog jumps out.
Yeah.
And it felt a bit like, right, now we need to make that connection.
We've got to link it.
And then we move in.
Yeah.
And that felt a bit forced for me.
Well, at least they put it in the credits. They didn't have it right at the end of the film.
Yeah, that's true.
So they tried to, I guess, link it. And I think ultimately, in some ways the filmmaker, all he really wanted to do was just remake The Thing. But I think they were hampered with the fact that they had to make the prequel, and they had to think out, how do we get from this to this and link it and make it.
Yeah.
But it's still a fun journey, I think. I mean, the characters, I like the lead. I liked Kate, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah, I thought I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. And I did feel that it wasn't just a hash out of the original.
No.
They explored new ideas. There were elements of, doing the checks like you have on the original. It was new ideas of doing the checks. But in the end, it is a scene where you're lining up people and you're trusting them and you're not trusting them, and then there's a jump scare. And the same thing happened with this one.
Yes.
It wasn't the person I was expecting. That was good.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
The arm dislocates and it turns into this crab creature, and it goes on this guy's face. And he was such a nice character. I really liked him as a character. And he's just sitting in the corner going, with this thing.
Oh, it's just horrendous.
It's so horrible.
But I mean, I think with both of the movies, when those things do detach, you can really feel that weight kind of like disappearing.
Yeah.
Both of them did that really, really well. And I think out of all of the effects that are done, both of them, you can just feel it separating and the loss of limbs.
Yeah,
and then really all of the tendrils that follow. They're both in both movies, I thought was very well done, and something that made me just go, ugh, as I watched it.
I think the creature itself is really inventive in both cases. I mean, it's a little over the top. The scene in the helicopter where you get the first glimpse of the face going like that, and then it just literally just goes, and it's like suddenly it's like an explosion of tendrils, which is a shame. It was a little over the top, but it was a shock.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll give it that.
I mean, if somebody said to me, "Can you draw the thing?" You can't. You actually can't. It would be one tendril for me because it's just, because it's a load of tendrils.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so many different forms.
Yeah. It's almost like there's no end to the imagination that you could put to it.
But maybe that's why it's called The Thing, because you can't quite pinpoint exactly what it is. The Thingamy Bob.
They should make this. They are making a sequel, The Thing 2. I think John Carpenter has signed on. Yeah. But whether it's going to have Kurt Russell in it, I have no idea. I think that might destroy a lot of the lore that's come afterwards and the discussions. But we'll see. So Lou, you hadn't seen The Thing for a long time.
Yeah, and I hadn't seen the prequel.
And you hadn't seen
at all.
You hadn't seen it at all.
No,
oh,
I'd never seen it.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you think?
So in the 1982 version, I loved.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it, even though I was watching it while I was having my dinner. But I thought it was a wild ride. I would give that a 9. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
The prequel, I enjoyed it, but I just didn't get the same feel. They were isolated, but I didn't feel necessarily that they were isolated.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't care that they were isolated.
Oh, right, okay.
And it didn't feel claustrophobic. I didn't get that sense that who's sneaking around. It just didn't have that at all for me. And it's going to sound harsh, but I'm going to give it a 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so for me, the original, again, is a 9. The prequel, the creature, I think the main problem with the creature is that it was an extrovert rather than an introvert.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
Because
party animal.
Yeah, in the first movie, it felt like it just wanted to hide and just get away. In the sequel, prequel, I mean, it was literally like, hey, here I am, do. Do you know what I mean? So it was really out there, and there was no hiding. But I would give it, a 7.
Okay.
It's a fun watch. Yeah. So that's the things.
That's the thing.
That's all
the
the
thing's
things.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let us know your comments of The Thing and The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and how you'd rate both of the movies.
Yeah.
And anything that we probably missed on viewing these films, and any bits of information that we've skipped over and that we didn't actually know about would be really great.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Please remember, if you could, to like and subscribe to us, and also check out our other films that we've got on the channel. We're garnishing quite a few now. Actually, we're racking them up.
A range of different kinds of movies.
So check them out. That would be wonderful. And thank you so much for watching Screen Time. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, hopefully you'll join us again for the next one.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.